What are your thoughts on the Harris and Trump debate? I'm a leader in IVF made me laugh out loud. Quick someone making I have concepts of a plan bumper sticker and put it on Etsy. We are all the smoking Ben Affleck meme. To quote the great Bobby Newport, I'm against crime, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I didn't do my homework. I have the concept of a homework. Transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison was really said. Did I say that? Just 6 days after he admits losing the election by a few counts. Not the transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison. Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people, and clearly he is having a difficult time processing that. So trans immigrants that got surgery in prison are coming to eat my dog, and doctors want to kill my baby. You learn something new every day. A student can't source Wikipedia, but the former president is fine sourcing seen on TV. I thought for sure Harris wanted to call him a motherfucker or a fucker, but instead just inserted a pregnant pause and said, former president. I think fucker was implied. The path to winning this debate for Donald Trump was to just play the hits. Every person in America knows everything they could possibly know about him. Run the ball as you will. Instead, he said Democrats want to legalize infanticide and that immigrants were eating pets. An amazing way to walk right into the weird rake over and over like an oranger, somehow more bloodthirsty sideshow Bob. So, do you have a plan? I have a concept of a plan. I am using this for every answer in my life that requires a yes/no from here on out. Why'd you send me a picture of my house? You are going to have to figure that out, Abdul. How is he serious? I got involved with the Taliban is not a quote I would want out there. I honestly think Trump believes asylum seekers come from insane asylums. Kamala came across as much more moderate than I think many would have expected. I think she knows that liberal voters will vote for their cat before they vote Trump, assuming their cat hasn't been eaten. So instead, she's speaking towards Republicans who could live with her policies enough that it would be preferable to Trump. I don't have any thoughts about it yet, but I do have a concept of a thought. Top takeaways for me. Kamala. I never asked if a victim was a Republican or Democrat. I asked if he was okay. Trump, the leader of the Taliban, his name was Abdul. I showed Abdul a picture of his house. He asked, "Why do you have a picture of my house?" I said, "You know why." Trump debate team. Stay calm, focused, stay on policy, stay serious, focused. Trump, they're eating dogs. Harris, world leaders are laughing at you. Trump, Viktor Orban the fascist loves me. I got involved with the Taliban. Donald Trump. OMG when she roasted his rallies and called them boring, I knew we were going off the rails. And sure enough, that led to talk of WWI and people eating cats and dogs in Ohio. Fucking wild, man. Harris argued that Trump could be manipulated by other world leaders and then demonstrated as much by manipulating him in debated attacks all evening long. He was like a cat chasing a laser pointer. He'd eat you for lunch. Please, for the love of God, can someone on Trump's team explain to him that the people importing goods pay the tariffs, not China? Please remember, former President Trump's fans are reading and watching their own news services right now. And they are thrilled. President Trump won bigly. They will all vote. Every Democrat needs to vote. Every single one of us. If Trump rambling and looking old wasn't enough, Kamala baited him and looked young. Trump could not look in her direction all night. Kamala made him give her a handshake. It is clear who was in control. He lost. An interesting, but certainly not surprising, note is that he would not look at her the entire time. Meanwhile, not only would Harris look at him, but she was speaking directly to him at some points. He's scared, and he should be. My first thought was, man, the memeosphere is going to be hot this week. I was in disbelief the whole time. Trump refuses to establish the bottom of the barrel, and instead continues to dig. It's impressive, really. I didn't know a person could actually achieve his level of incompetence, callousness, and narcissism. Harris was poised, composed, dignified, and spoke eloquently. No notes. I think she absolutely clobbered him. when he wasn't busy clobbering himself. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets, said by the GOP candidate for the U.S. presidency. Here we are, America. Clearly, the US electorate is deeply, deeply fucked for this to be an even close race. No politician will say it because it's totally untenable to call out voters for their flaws. But that's the real story here. Allowing Donald Trump to still hang around and even be close in this race is a major embarrassment for the American voters. God help us all. A few things. 1. How can you say a medical plan is bad, but 9 years later have a concept of a plan? If it's so bad, it should be easy to fix. 2. 21 million people monthly would equate to over 1 billion people for year term. The US population is sub 350 M. Who the fuck did that math? Only a guy who filed for bankruptcy 6 times. 3. Can I get some of that money Iran is spreading around? 4. When did NATO become a for-profit organization? NATO doesn't pay the US anything. 5. Can I get some of that American military we're giving away? I'd love an F. 22, please. 6. Imagine not being aligned with your vice president. 7. I was being sarcastic. 8. If post 9 months abortions are happening, I got a few coworkers. It seems obvious Trump isn't allowed to say anything negative about Putin or Russia. I noticed that Trump refused to say that he wanted Ukraine to win the war. The moderator gave him a couple chances to say it, and he completely avoided saying it. He would only say that he would end the war. I don't understand how anyone can watch Trump talk and not think he's a complete narcissistic, incoherent buffoon. He always talks in ridiculous absolutes. Politics aside, just his character is enough to make you sick. I'm glad that Kamala is trying to focus on the future, and I think this was a slam dunk for her, but it's unsettling the election will likely be so close. Edit. I loved Kamala telling him he got fired by 81 million people. You know, that hit hard, LOL. That was fun and unhinged, but I don't think it's ethical to use the elderly like that for our entertainment. It's so hard for me to take anyone seriously that can watch that debate and support Trump. I'm not saying you had to impress with Harris, but I don't get how you can support Trump. She very obviously baited him several times, and he very predictably fell for it. He's an idiot, and she's a prosecutor. It was no contest.